welcome to the Mobile Matters podcast, powered by the Mobile Chamber, where we're diving deeper into important topics that make a significant impact on Mobile's thriving business community. I'm your host and President and CEO of the Mobile Chamber, Bradley Byrne. Today we have a special episode as we welcome Pratt Thomas, the president of Merrill P. Thomas Company, Inc., Mobile's 2024 Small Business of the Year. We'll talk about his family's business, its impact on our community, and what's next for the company. So Pratt, welcome to Mobile Matters.
Thank you for having me.
So Merrill B. Thomas and Company has been a fixture in Mobile's commercial real estate landscape for more than 30 years. Tell us a little about the company's history and how it all started.
Well, the company was founded in 1992 by my father, Merrill, and he founded the company after a career with Falmer and Associates, and he started the company as a development company, and was going to pursue super Kmarts, and was working on a deal in Pensacola when he first incorporated, and that's when Kmart filed bankruptcy. Literally the day before he was set to sign a lease to begin construction on a Kmart in Pensacola. And so he pivoted and began doing development work across the Southeast region. I joined the company in 2008 after a banking career at Regions Bank, and we finished 3 development projects in 2008, and then the Great Recession happened. We started building the brokerage side of the business at that point. And now today we do development, brokerage, and property management services for small businesses and government entities across the Gulf Coast states.
Well, a lot of people know your dad, and I'm telling you what you already know. He's a special guy. But to have had the courage and the foresight to jump out there and do what he did 30-some-odd years ago is pretty remarkable. But you've come into the company now, and I know that he's proud to have you there. Your company's evolved from a single-tenant retail focus to managing neighborhood shopping centers and warehouse properties. What drove that change over time?
Well, it was really a personnel change in a large company that really pushed us to deviate from the single tenant. It was a single tenant relationship, and so just saw an opportunity where there was small businesses that needed retail space in areas that were anchored by a university, a major retailer, or some other anchor that drew people to a certain area, and there was a need for small space for small businesses. And so that's where we began diversifying into strip center properties. And then through 2008, the Amazon effect, retail was about to die. And so we were really just managing what we had, not really knowing what was going to come. And so we started diversifying into warehousing properties at that time. And so now here we are today with a focus mainly on retail and industrial properties.
Most of our members here at the Chamber are small businesses. So when you talk about small retailers, you're talking about a lot of people that make up the bulk of our membership here at the Chamber. So your involvement with the HOPE program to build affordable homes is truly remarkable. Tell us more about that.
I was just reflecting on what we do in our business, developing properties for profit, and really just had a calling to do something more with the talents that we have, something that was more impactful to someone's life. Building a shopping center or an office building or whatever it may be is great, and it helps small business. But you can't really see how it changes somebody's life. And so I started thinking of ways to make an impact in an individual's life that was tangible. And so really just meditated on it and prayed on it. And so I took that as just as a calling to participate in helping to build affordable housing. And just so happened that the mayor and his administration rolled out a program, the HOPE program, and so it was a call to action. And so we applied for it, and it's been a long process, from the time that he announced the program to the time we started building homes. But we're now, we've gained some momentum with that, and so we're starting to learn that process and work through that. And we are finishing one home this month and starting two more this month.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so it's really cool to see these homeowners. You meet with them and the emotions that are involved. They're using, their Section 8 vouchers, housing vouchers, and the city is loaning them the money and using their vouchers as the repayment source, and they have to contribute a little bit more as well. But it's an incredible opportunity for these individuals.
Well, we know we have a need for more homes in Mobile. A fast-growing economy, you expect more people to come here, and so thank you for doing that. So obviously it's a big honor to be named Small Business of the Year. And by the way, you were in some pretty competitive company because the other finalists were really great. Yeah. But congratulations to you for winning it. What does that honor mean to you and your company?
Probably the most humbling experience that I've had in my entire life. You see that competition, and as they're making the announcements of what these companies have accomplished and how much they've grown, I'm sitting back and thinking, we don't have a chance. And then you hear your name called, and it's just like, really? It's hard for me to even picture ourselves in the same category. So just trying to do the best we can, and so it's been really cool, the recognition that individuals throughout the community have brought to us, and then just the recognition that the chamber has put on this program, and for our company, the billboards and advertisements, and so it's been a great, humbling experience.
Well, I think you know this, but let me make sure I emphasize this for our listeners. The chamber itself doesn't make the selection. We select judges, and they make the selection. So you went through an intense judging process. So I know it's humbling, but you wouldn't have gotten it if you didn't deserve it. So you deserve it, and we're glad you got it. Y'all are pretty deeply rooted in the Mobile community, and we just talked about the HOPE program. But so what role does community engagement play in your business philosophy?
Our business is primarily here in Mobile and Baldwin counties. And so just being a part of the community is just something that,
it's good for business.
It's good for business. Yeah, sure.
I make that point a lot to people. If you're a business, be engaged in the community because it's the right thing to do. But hey, the more you're engaged, the more business you're likely to get.
Sure.
So it's a little bit of enlightened self-interest. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk about Pratt's journey into the family business and what the future holds for Merrill P. Thomas Company. We'll be right back.
The biggest benefit the Chamber has brought B.E. Brown & Company Mortuary is visibility in the community. They were a huge assistance when we had our ribbon cutting ceremony. They went all out. Through the Chamber, we are able to stay in touch with the many events that happens in the community. We look forward every month to the numerous networking opportunities that they have. There's no downside to Chamber membership. For more information on joining the Chamber, visit mobilechamber.com.
We're back on the Mobile Matters podcast. We're here with Pratt Thomas with Merrill P. Thomas Commercial Real Estate, who was just named the 2024 Small Business of the Year. Pratt, you joined the company in 2008 after working in banking, as you said. What made you decide to leave banking and switch to real estate?
Well, I had always wanted to be in real estate. Growing up with a father who was traveling a lot for working on development projects across 11 states, it was not uncommon for us to have a family vacation that revolved around where Dad was doing work at the time. So, a project going on in Tennessee near Nashville, we ended up at the musical Dollywood, yeah. And so it was really just almost a part of my DNA by the time I started thinking about what I wanted to do when I grew up. And so I wanted to really pursue a degree in real estate at Ole Miss. When I was there, Dad said, "Nah, it's too specific." And so got a finance degree, a double major in finance from the University of Mississippi, still thinking that I wanted to get into real estate, and started with AmSouth, which eventually became Regions, and got my license while I was working at Regions. And I came to Dad one time after about 3 years in banking, and the bureaucracy of banking was something that didn't jive well with me. And so Dad said, I said, "Well, look, I want to come work with you." He said, I thought that I told you after 5 years, you go, pursue a career for 5 years. If it's not working out, we'll revisit. I said, "Well, I thought you said 3 years." So 5 years, rolls around in banking, and I showed back up and said, I'm ready to get into real estate. There, you could see some of the changes, some of the exposure that Regions had in December of 2007 and the beginning of 2008 in South Florida. Some of the development loans that we had made were starting to feel, you could feel those tentacles at the core. And so some of the changes in banking were on their way, and started feeling some of that. And so I came to Dad and said, I'm ready. He says, "Well, there's not much here for you." And I said, "Well, if there's nothing here for me, I'll go across the street to your competition and and I'll get started that way." And so he found a position for me. Come on, and we'll let you start managing some of these properties for a nominal salary. I think I was paid $11,000 a year, and so $12,000, excuse me. And it was okay. Figure it out.
So, not all of us go into a family business. And so I can imagine that joining a family business comes with some unique challenges and opportunities. So what's been the most rewarding part of your journey in a family business so far?
Finally recognizing the contributions and the value that Dad has made over his career. As a son, you always challenge your father. Or at least I always challenged my father, and so really it was no different in business. And so there were a lot of times where we butted heads, and it wasn't until we started having differences in how we were going to go forward, and it became apparent to me that I was either going to have to blaze a path going forward, or maybe find something else to do. And it was really hard for us because we butted heads over which direction to go forward. And we've been building a team, and I ended up participating in the Goldman Sachs 10K SB program, and through that program, it gave us an opportunity to have a holistic view of the company, dive deep into all the different components of our business, and just be able to sit down and talk together about what my view of how we move forward and his view, and just make sure that we are having those conversations rather than having these ideas in our heads that we ultimately don't sit down and have a conversation and put something on paper on how we are going to move forward.
Well, sons and fathers butt heads sometimes, but that's part of the loving relationship and the fact you feel comfortable enough to communicate what you really think. And my sons don't always think exactly the way I do on things, and that's okay. I mean, it's part of them being who they are and me being who I am. So, as you look into the future, what are some of your big goals for Merrill P. Thomas Company?
Our vision is to be a leader across the Gulf Coast states in the commercial real estate industry.
Good. Like hearing that.
Yeah. So, the industry and the work that y'all are doing to build that is a big part of our goal. Contributing to the infrastructure and the real estate that's required in order to help facilitate that growth, forming strategic partnerships in order to just help the city grow. And so we have ambitious revenue goals as we grow, and it's going to take growing our team in order to do that. And so I can't say that there are individual projects that are going to that we're targeting that are going to. Maybe there are some individual projects, but that would help us get there. But yeah, being a leader across the Gulf Coast states in the commercial real estate industry.
Well, I love hearing a Mobile company has the ambition to be that, because we want you to be that. That helps us here when you do that. And we're developing a lot of very interesting opportunities, I'll put it that way. Our calculations are that we need 50 million more square feet of warehouse space, for example, and not just any warehouse space, kind that the big boys are using. And so there's going to be a lot of commercial real estate opportunity there. We have a data person in the chamber, and I asked him to go figure out how much have we announced in public and private infrastructure spending, and he came back with the figure $12 billion. That's what we've announced, and we've got a lot more yet to announce. So we think for people throughout our economy, but commercial real estate in particular, we think that there's going to be a lot of growth there. So you've had the benefit of now doing this for a while. You're a successful small business owner. So for those small business owners or entrepreneurs who are listening, what piece of advice would you give them about growing and sustaining a small business?
Communication.
Good.
Communication, involving your team in decisions. As we started out, when we started as a company, it was every man for himself. When I showed up, it was, okay, go earn a living.
Yeah. Eat what you kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have evolved to develop a team, and so we take different perspectives and communicate across the team when we are trying to make decisions about how to move forward. And so I would say that the biggest thing is just taking the initiative to follow your dream and involve your team in how you want to achieve your goals.
Well, it helps that you have a good team. I know some of your team members, one of them pretty well, and they're not just good at commercial real estate, they're good people, and kind of congratulate you on your team. Well, Pratt Thomas, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. Congratulations again on being named Mobile Chamber's Small Business of the Year. From the heart of the Mobile business community, this is the Mobile Matters podcast, powered by the Mobile Chamber.